Kang Wu walked down the long white hallway of Galactic Army headquarters. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. In his hand, he carried a piece of paper that would change his life. It was his resignation letter. 8 years. That was how long he had served in the Galactic Army. 8 years of fighting wars on distant planets. 8 years of watching friends die. 8 years of following orders from people who had never seen real battle. Now at 28 years old, he was done. Wu stopped in front of a large door with gold letters that read, Admiral Torres Fleet. Command. He took a deep breath and knocked. Come in, said a voice from inside. Admiral. Torres was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been fighting wars since before Wu was born. Her office was full of medals and pictures from old battles. She looked up from her desk when Wu entered. Captain Kang Wu reporting, ma'am, Wu said. He stood straight and saluted. Sit down, Captain, Torres said. I know why you're here. Wu sat in the chair across from her desk. He placed his resignation letter on the table between them. Ma'am, I've served my time. I want to go home to Earth. I want to open a small cafe and live a quiet life. Torres picked up the letter but did not open it. You're a good soldier, Wu. One of the best I've ever seen. You led the attack on the Void Swarm at Titan Station. You saved thousands of lives during the siege. The men trust you. Thank you, ma'am. But I'm tired of war. Torres opened a drawer in her desk and pulled out a blue folder. Before you leave, I need you to do one more mission. Just one. Wu felt his heart sink. Ma'am, with respect, I've already decided. This isn't a request, Captain. This is an order from the top. The Villani Empire has asked for you specifically. The Villani Empire. Wu knew about them. They were humanity's most powerful allies in the galaxy. The Villani were tall, blue-skinned beings who lived on dozens of worlds. Their ships were fast and their weapons were strong. Most importantly, they kept other dangerous species away from human space. What do the Villani want with me? Wu asked. Torres opened the blue folder. Inside were pictures of alien ships and star maps. They want you to protect someone. Princess Yella, the crown princess of their empire. She's going to a peace meeting with the Hive Collective. The Hive Collective. Wu remembered fighting them during his first year in the army. They were insect-like creatures who lived in massive ships. For years, humans and the Hive had been enemies. Now they were trying to make peace. Why me? Wu asked. There are other soldiers who can do protection work. The Villani specifically asked for you. They've read your service records. They know about your missions. Apparently they're impressed with how you fight. Wu looked at the pictures in the folder. One showed a Villani woman with blue skin and silver markings on her face. She had large dark eyes and long white hair. This must be Princess Yella. If I do this mission, then I'm free to resign? Wu asked. Yes. One mission, then you can go home and open your cafe. Wu thought about it. He had been planning his cafe for years. A small place on Earth where people could drink coffee and eat simple food. No weapons. No fighting. Just peace and quiet. But the Villani were important allies. If humans lost their friendship, many colonies could be in danger. Wu had seen what happened when humanity fought alone against the Void Swarm. It had not gone well. When do I leave? Wu asked. Torres smiled. Tomorrow. A transport ship will take you to the Villani flagship. The mission should take about 2 weeks. After leaving Torres's office, Wu went to find his best friend, Park Jin. Jin worked in the communications center, a large room full of screens and machines that connected to ships across the galaxy. You look unhappy, Jin said when he saw Wu. Did they refuse your resignation? They're making me do one more mission, Wu said. He told Jin about the Villani princess and the peace meeting. Jin shook his head. Nothing involving the Villani is ever simple, my friend. Their culture is based on honor and fighting. They have strange customs that humans don't understand. It's just protection work. How hard can it be? The Villani don't think like humans, Jin said. To them, everything is about strength and honor. If they asked for you specifically, there's a reason. Be careful. That night, Wu packed his things. He didn't need much for 2 weeks. Some clothes, his personal weapons, and a small picture of Earth that he kept with him on every mission. Soon, he would be home. The next morning, Wu took a shuttle to the transport ship. The ship was small and fast, designed to carry important passengers quickly between star systems. The pilot was a young lieutenant who seemed excited to meet Wu. Sir, I've read about your missions, the pilot said. The battle at Titan Station was amazing. How did you know the Void Swarm would attack from the north side? Experience, Wu said. He didn't like talking about old battles. Too many good people had died. The trip to Villani space took 3 days. Wu spent most of the time reading about Villani culture and customs. The Villani were warriors, but they were also honorable. They kept their promises and expected others to do the same. They respected strength but also wisdom. Most interesting was their royal family. Unlike human governments, the Villani were ruled by an emperor and his family. Princess Yella was next in line to rule the entire empire. She was said to be smart and strong, trained in both combat and diplomacy. On the 3rd day, they arrived at the Villani flagship. It was enormous, bigger than anything humans had built. The ship was dark blue with silver decorations that looked like flowing water. Hundreds of smaller ships flew around it like a swarm of metal insects. Villani flagship. This is Human Transport 774 requesting permission to dock, the pilot said into his radio. Permission granted. Welcome, Captain Kang Wu. Her Royal Highness is waiting. As their ship moved toward the Villani flagship, Wu wondered what he had gotten himself into. In 2 weeks, this would all be over. He would go home to Earth and start his new life. He would never have to fight another war. He had no idea how wrong he was. The peace meeting with the Hive Collective took place on a neutral space station called Haven Point. It was built by an ancient species that no longer existed, made of strange metal that seemed to absorb light. The station was perfect for meetings between species that didn't trust each other. Wu stood behind Princess Yella as she met with Ambassador Crix, the leader of the Hive delegation. Crix looked like a giant insect with 6 arms and compound eyes that saw in all directions. His voice was created by rubbing his legs together, but a translation device made it sound like normal speech. Princess Yella, Crix said, "It is good to meet the daughter of the Villani Emperor. We hope this meeting will end the fighting between our peoples." As do I, Ambassador Crix. Too many have died on both sides. The peace talks lasted for 3 days. Both sides argued about territory, trade routes, and old grievances. Several times Wu thought the meeting would fail. But Princess Yella was patient and wise. She listened to every complaint and found ways to compromise. On the 3rd day, they reached an agreement. The Villani and the Hive would stop fighting. They would share certain trade routes and help defend each other against common enemies like the Void Swarm. "This is a good day," Princess Yella said as she and Crix signed the peace treaty. "Our peoples will be stronger together." But as they were preparing to leave Haven Point, something unexpected happened. Princess Yella called for a formal ceremony. All the Villani crew gathered in the main hall of their flagship. A communication link was opened to the Villani homeworld so that billions of her people could watch. Wu stood with Commander Zeth and the other senior officers, wondering what was happening. Princess Yella had not told him about any ceremony. Princess Yella stood in the center of the hall, wearing formal robes of blue and silver. The markings on her skin glowed brightly as she began to speak in the Villani language. Wu couldn't understand the words, but he could tell this was something important. "What is she saying?" he whispered to Commander Zeth. The commander's face had gone pale. "She is invoking the right of sovereign choice." "What does that mean?" Before Commander Zeth could answer, Princess Yella switched to English. "I, Princess Yella, daughter of Emperor Voss, heir to the Crystal Throne, do hereby claim my right as a royal daughter to choose my consort. I choose Captain Kang Wu of Earth to be my husband and my partner in ruling the Villani Empire." The hall went completely silent. Wu felt like someone had hit him with a stun weapon. He couldn't move. He couldn't think. "Your Highness," he finally managed to say, "I don't understand." Princess Yella turned to face him. Her dark eyes were serious but kind. "The right of sovereign choice is an ancient law. The heir to the throne may choose their own spouse regardless of politics or family wishes. I am choosing you. But why? Because in these past days I have seen who you are. You are strong but not cruel. You are wise but not arrogant. You fight for justice, not glory, and our minds work as one in battle. These are the qualities I want in a partner." The Villani crew began to murmur among themselves. Some seemed excited. Others looked worried or angry. Commander Zeth stepped forward. "Princess, this is unprecedented. No Villani royal has ever chosen an alien consort." "Then I will be the first," Princess Yella said firmly. "The law gives me this right." "Will you deny it?" "No, Your Highness. The law is clear. But this will cause great debate throughout the Empire. News of Princess Yella's declaration spread across the galaxy within hours. On Earth, government officials held emergency meetings. Some saw this as a great opportunity to strengthen the human-Volani alliance. Others worried about the consequences. In the human military, the reaction was even stronger. General Voss, a leader who believed humans should stay separate from other species, was furious. He appeared on news broadcasts, declaring that the Volani were trying to control humanity through marriage. "This is not love," General Voss said to reporters. "This is political manipulation. The Volani want to use one of our best soldiers as a puppet. I will not allow it." Back on the Volani flagship, Wu sat alone in his quarters trying to understand what had happened. A few hours ago, he had been counting the days until he could go home to Earth. Now he was supposedly engaged to an alien princess. There was a soft knock on his door. "Come in," he said. Princess Yella entered, no longer wearing her formal robes. She looked smaller somehow, more human-like despite her blue skin and silver markings. "You're confused," she said, sitting in the chair across from him. "That's an understatement. Your Highness. Please call me Yella. If we are to be married, we should use our names." "Are we really to be married? You barely know me." Yella was quiet for a moment. "Captain Wu. Kang Wu. May I tell you something that I have told no one else?" "Of course. I have a gift that few Volani possess. I can sometimes see possible futures. Not clearly like watching a video, but I see shadows of what might happen. You're telepathic. More than that. And what I see in the futures where our peoples remain merely allies is darkness. War comes again. The Void Swarm returns stronger than before. Billions die. But if we marry, the futures become brighter. Our peoples truly unite. We combine human adaptability with Volani strength. We become something new, something better. We survive what is coming." Wu studied her face. "You're asking me to marry you to save the galaxy?" "I'm asking you to consider it. But I want you to know that my choice was not made only from visions of the future. I have watched you these past days. I have seen your heart. If there were no visions, no political benefits, I would still choose you." Before Wu could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Commander Zeth's voice came over the communication system. "All hands to battle stations. Human fleet approaching." "They are not responding to communication attempts." Wu and Yella ran to the bridge. The main display showed a dozen human warships approaching fast. These were not raiders or mercenaries. These were official Galactic Army vessels. "They're led by the dreadnought Titan's Hammer," an officer reported. "General Voss's flagship. Are they here to attack us?" Yella asked. Commander Zeth shook his head. "Unknown. They're maintaining distance, but their weapons are powered." A message came through on the main communication channel. General Voss's face appeared on the screen. He was a large man with gray hair and cold eyes. "Volani vessel, this is General Voss of the Galactic Army. You are holding one of our officers against his will. Release Captain Kang Wu immediately or face the consequences." Princess Yella stepped forward. "General Voss, Captain Kang Wu is here by his own choice. He is free to leave at any time." "That's not what I see. I see an alien princess using mind control to manipulate a human soldier. This is an act of war." Wu moved to stand beside Princess Yella. "General, I am here voluntarily. No one is controlling me. You've been brainwashed, Captain. Don't worry. We'll fix that." The communication ended. On the tactical display, the human ships began to move into attack formation. "He's not here to negotiate," Wu said. "Voss believes in human superiority. He thinks all other species are inferior. He won't accept peace between humans and aliens." "Then what do we do?" Yella asked. Wu looked at the tactical display, studying the positions of the human ships. An idea began to form in his mind. It was dangerous and probably crazy, but it might be the only way to prevent a war. "Yella," he said, "do you trust me? With my life? Then I have a plan, but you're not going to like it." The inside of the Volani flagship was unlike anything Wu had ever seen. The walls were made of some kind of blue crystal that glowed softly. The hallways were tall and wide, built for people much larger than humans. Strange music played quietly from hidden speakers. Two Volani soldiers met Wu at the docking bay. They were both over 7 feet tall with blue skin and silver markings that seemed to move and change. They wore armor that looked like it was made from the same crystal as the walls. "Captain Kang Wu," one of them said in perfect English. "I am Commander Zeth. Welcome aboard the Star of Volani." Wu saluted. "Thank you for having me, Commander. The princess is waiting to meet you. Please follow me." They walked through long corridors filled with Villani crew members. All of them stopped what they were doing to look at Wu. He was probably the first human many of them had ever seen up close. Some looked curious. Others looked suspicious. "Your reputation comes before you, Captain," Commander Zeth said as they walked. "Many of our people have heard stories of your battles." "I just did my job," Wu said. Modesty, another interesting human trait. They stopped in front of two large doors decorated with silver symbols. Commander Zeth placed his hand on a crystal panel. The doors opened silently. The room beyond was huge. The ceiling was so high that Wu could barely see it. One entire wall was made of clear crystal, showing the stars outside. In the center of the room was a raised platform with a simple chair. Sitting in the chair was Princess Yela. She was smaller than the other Villani, but still taller than Wu. Her blue skin was darker than the others, and her silver markings formed complex patterns around her eyes and hands. She wore a simple white robe that seemed to move like water. Her hair was long and white, falling past her shoulders. But it was her eyes that caught Wu's attention. They were large and dark, almost black. When she looked at him, he felt like she could see inside his mind. "Captain Kang Wu," she said, standing up. Her voice was soft but clear. "I have been looking forward to meeting you." Wu bowed slightly. "Your Highness, I'm here to protect you during your mission." Princess Yela smiled. "You speak Korean to your friends, don't you, Captain?" Wu was surprised. "Yes, Your Highness." "How did you know?" She switched to perfect Korean. "Because I have studied your language. I have studied your culture. I have read every report about your missions." "Why?" Wu asked, also speaking Korean now. "Because I wanted to understand the man who saved 3,000 colonists at Titan Station, the man who could have destroyed the Void Swarm ships but chose instead to disable them, the man who shows mercy even to his enemies." Commander Zeth stepped forward. "In Villani culture, the royal family has the right to choose their own protectors. Princess Yela has chosen you." "I'm honored," Wu said, "but I'm only here for 2 weeks. After the peace meeting, I return to Earth." "We shall see," Princess Yela said. She walked closer to Wu. He could smell something like flowers and rain. "Tell me, Captain, what do you know about the Hive Collective?" "I've fought them before. They're dangerous but honorable. They keep their agreements." "Good. But there are some among both our peoples who do not want peace. They will try to stop this meeting. That is why I need someone I can trust." Over the next few days, as the Villani fleet traveled toward the meeting point, Wu learned more about Villani culture. They valued strength, but not just physical strength. They respected intelligence, wisdom, and the ability to make hard choices. Princess Yela tested him constantly. She asked him about his battles, his decisions, his reasons for wanting to leave the army. She seemed genuinely interested in human thinking. "Your people are fascinating," she said one day as they stood looking out at the stars. "You are not the strongest species in the galaxy. You are not the smartest or the fastest, but you adapt. You survive. You make friends with your enemies." "Sometimes," Wu said, "but we also make enemies of our friends." Wise words. That is why this peace meeting is so important. The Hive Collective was our enemy for many years, but they are tired of fighting just as we are. On the 4th day, they were attacked. 3 ships appeared suddenly from behind an asteroid. They were human ships, but they flew no flags and sent no messages. They just started shooting. "Battle stations." Commander Zeth shouted over the ship's communication system. The Villani flagship shook as enemy weapons hit its shields. Wu ran to the bridge with Princess Yela and her guards. The bridge was a large room filled with crystal controls and floating displays showing the battle. "Who are they?" Princess Yela asked. "Unknown ships with human design," a Villani officer reported. "They're using military weapons but no identification codes." Wu studied the enemy ships on the display. "Those are Shadow-class raiders. Fast and well-armed. They're probably mercenaries. Can we defeat them?" Princess Yela asked. "Yes," Commander Zeth said, "but it will take time, and they might escape to report our position." Wu had an idea. "Your Highness, may I suggest something?" Princess Yela nodded. "Don't destroy their ships. Disable them. We can capture the crews and find out who hired them." "Why show mercy to attackers?" Commander Zeth asked. "Because dead men tell no stories," Wu said. "If we kill them, we'll never know who sent them. If we capture them, we can stop this from happening again." Princess Yela closed her eyes for a moment. The silver markings on her face glowed brighter. Wu felt a strange sensation like someone was gently touching his thoughts. "I agree with Captain Wu," she said, opening her eyes. "Target their engines and weapons only." The battle was short but intense. The Volani weapons were more advanced than the human ships could handle. Within 10 minutes, all 3 enemy ships were floating dead in space, their crews alive but helpless. Volani boarding teams captured the crews and brought them to the flagship. Under questioning, they revealed that they had been hired by someone who wanted to stop the peace meeting. But they didn't know who their employer was. They had been contacted through secret channels and paid in untraceable credits. "Someone doesn't want peace between the Volani and the Hive," Princess Yella said to Wu later. "This attack was meant to make it look like humans were behind it. But why would humans want to stop peace between you and the Hive? Perhaps because they benefit from the conflict. Or perhaps because they fear what we might accomplish together." That night, Wu couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the battle and Princess Yella's strange ability to seem to read his thoughts. He had heard that some Volani had telepathic abilities, but he had never experienced it before. There was something else bothering him. During the battle, when they were working together to defeat the attackers, he had felt a connection to Princess Yella. Not romantic, but something deeper. Like their minds worked well together. He had felt this way only once before during his first year in the army when he was paired with his old squad leader. They had been able to anticipate each other's actions in battle, fighting as if they shared one mind. But that had been with another human. This was with an alien princess he had known for less than a week. The next morning, Princess Yella found him in the ship's observation deck, looking out at the stars. "You couldn't sleep either," she said, joining him at the large window. "I keep thinking about yesterday, about the attack, and about how we worked together during the battle." Wu looked at her in surprise. "How did you know that?" Princess Yella smiled. "Because I felt it too. In Volani culture, when 2 warriors fight as one mind, it is considered very rare, very special." "What does it mean?" "It means, Captain Kang Wu, that your 2 weeks with us may be more interesting than you expected." Wu's plan was indeed crazy. Instead of running from General Voss's fleet or preparing for battle, he proposed that they hold the wedding ceremony immediately. Not just any wedding, but a traditional Volani ceremony that included combat trials to prove the worthiness of both partners. "You want to get married now?" Yella asked, "while human warships are pointing guns at us?" "Not just married," Wu said. "We'll make it a galaxy-wide event. Invite representatives from every major species. Show them that cooperation makes us stronger, not weaker." Commander Zeth looked skeptical. "The combat trials are dangerous, Captain. Both you and the princess could be seriously injured or killed. That's the point. If we're willing to risk our lives to prove our bond, maybe people will understand that this isn't about politics. It's about something deeper." Princess Yella closed her eyes and her silver markings began to glow. Wu could feel her telepathic abilities reaching out, touching his mind gently. After a moment, she opened her eyes and smiled. "I see the wisdom in this plan. Send the invitations, Commander. We will hold the ceremony in 6 hours." Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Ships began arriving from all directions. The Hive Collective sent Ambassador Crix and an honor guard. The crystalline Solari came in their beautiful glass ships. Even the mysterious energy beings called the Architects sent a representative. General Voss was furious. "This is a circus," he shouted over the communication channel. "I will not allow this mockery to continue." But he couldn't attack now. Too many neutral ships had arrived to witness the ceremony. If he started a battle, he would be blamed for starting a galactic war. The ceremony was held in the main hangar of the Volani flagship. The space was huge, large enough to hold thousands of beings from dozens of different species. The walls were decorated with blue and silver banners, and soft music filled the air. Wu stood at one end of the hangar, wearing traditional Volani warrior armor that had been quickly modified to fit his human size. The armor was made of the same blue crystal as the ship's walls, but it was surprisingly light and flexible. Princess Yella entered from the other end, also wearing armor. But hers was more elegant, decorated with flowing designs that seemed to move in the light. Her white hair was braided with silver threads and her dark eyes shone with determination. Between them was an obstacle course designed to test both physical and mental abilities. There were walls to climb, puzzles to solve, and combat simulations to defeat. But the real test was whether they could work together as one unit. "Citizens of the galaxy," Princess Yella announced, her voice carried by translators to every ship in the area. "Today you will witness not just a wedding, but a demonstration of what we can achieve when different peoples unite in common purpose." The trials began. Wu and Yella moved through the course side by side, each using their unique abilities to help the other. When Wu's human agility helped him climb a difficult wall, he lowered a rope for Yella. When her Vellani telepathic abilities helped her solve a complex puzzle, she shared the solution with him. The watching crowd grew excited as they saw how perfectly the human and Vellani worked together. But the ceremony was interrupted by the sound of explosions outside the ship. "Void swarm ships detected," came an urgent announcement over the communication system. "Multiple contacts approaching fast." The hangar fell silent. The void swarm were the ancient enemies of all organic life. They were machines with artificial intelligence that wanted to convert all living beings into more machines. Everyone in the galaxy feared them. General Voss's voice came over the communication channel. "This is all part of their plan. The Vellani and the Void Swarm are working together." But Wu knew better. He had fought the Void Swarm before. They didn't work with anyone. They simply destroyed everything in their path. "This is not a coincidence," he said to Yella. "Someone called them here." Who would be insane enough to contact the Void Swarm? The answer came when General Voss himself appeared on the main communication screen. But he wasn't on his ship. He was on a Void Swarm vessel, standing next to a massive robot with glowing red eyes. "Citizens of the galaxy," Voss announced, "I have made a deal with the Void Swarm. They will help me eliminate the alien threat to human purity. Starting with this wedding." The crowd in the hangar began to panic. Ships outside started to scatter. But Princess Yella stepped forward, her voice calm and strong. "Do not run," she said. "If we scatter now, the Void Swarm will hunt us down one by one. Our only chance is to work together." Wu moved to stand beside her. "She's right. I've fought these machines before. They're powerful, but they have weaknesses. They don't understand cooperation. They don't expect different species to help each other." "What do you propose?" Ambassador Crix asked, his insect-like voice clicking with worry. "We finish the ceremony," Wu said. "We show the galaxy that unity is stronger than fear." The battle began as Wu and Yella completed their wedding trials. Outside the ship, the mixed fleet of human Vellani, Hive, and other species fought desperately against the Void Swarm. But inside the hangar, something remarkable was happening. As Wu and Yella fought the final combat simulation together, their minds linked through her telepathic abilities. For the first time, the watching crowd could see exactly how well a human and Vellani could work together. Wu's unpredictable creativity combined with Yella's strategic thinking created tactics that neither species could have developed alone. "By the gods," Commander Zeth whispered, "look at them fight." The combat simulation was designed to be nearly impossible for any single person. But together, Wu and Yella moved like dancers, anticipating each other's actions perfectly. They defeated enemies that should have been too strong for them, but the real enemy was still outside. General Voss had brought a dozen Void Swarm ships, each one capable of destroying entire fleets. The defending ships were taking heavy damage. "We need to help them," Wu said, completing the final trial and turning toward the hangar exit. "Wait," Princess Yella said. "We're not finished yet." She took his hands in hers, and the silver markings on her skin began to glow brighter than ever before. "Kang Wu of Earth, will you stand with me against the darkness? Will you help me build a future where all species can live in peace?" "I will," Wu said without hesitation. "Then by the ancient laws of Vellani and the witnessed oaths of 100 species, I pronounce us married. Now let's go save the galaxy." Together they ran toward the hangar exit where their personal fighter craft waited, but they weren't alone. All around the hangar, representatives from dozens of species were following them. The wedding had become a rallying cry. In space, the battle was going badly. The Void Swarm ships were too strong and too well coordinated. But then something changed. Instead of each species fighting separately, they began to work together. Human tactics combined with Vellani technology. Hive swarming techniques merged with Solari energy weapons. For the first time in galactic history, dozens of different species fought as one unified force. Wu and Yella flew their fighter into the heart of the battle, their minds still linked. They could coordinate the entire mixed fleet through Yella's telepathic network. Every ship knew exactly where to be and when to fire. "This is impossible," General Voss screamed over the communication channel. "You're all supposed to hate each other." "That was your mistake, General," Wu replied. "You thought our differences made us weak, but our differences make us stronger." The tide of battle turned. The Void Swarm, programmed to fight against individual species, couldn't adapt to the unified tactics of the Allied fleet. One by one, their ships were destroyed. General Voss tried to escape in the last Void Swarm vessel, but Wu and Yella were waiting for him. Their fighter, enhanced with both human and Volani technology, was faster and more agile than anything the machines could match. "General," Wu said over the communication channel, "surrender now. You've lost." "I'll never surrender to aliens," Voss shouted back. But the Void Swarm ship was badly damaged. Its weapons were offline and its engines were failing. Wu could have destroyed it easily. Instead, he used his ship's tractor beam to pull it to safety. "Why did you save him?" Yella asked. "Because that's what makes us different from the machines," Wu replied. "We show mercy even to our enemies." 6 months after the wedding that saved the galaxy, Wu stood on the observation deck of their new flagship, the Unity. Through the large windows, he could see construction crews from a dozen different species working together to build Harmony Station, the first truly integrated military and diplomatic headquarters in galactic history. The station was beautiful. Human engineering provided the basic structure, while Volani crystal technology gave it strength and beauty. Hive Collective workers moved with perfect precision, and Solari artists added decorative elements that sparkled like captured starlight. Even the mysterious architects had contributed, sharing energy patterns that made the entire station more efficient. "It's bigger than I imagined," said Park Jin, who had joined them as Chief Communications Officer for the new integrated fleet. "Everything is bigger than we imagined," Wu replied, watching a group of young beings from different species learning to work together in the station's training center. Princess Yella, now his wife and co-commander of the integrated forces, joined them at the window. Her hand rested gently on her stomach where their child was growing. The first human-Volani hybrid in history would be born in 3 months. "The doctors say the baby is healthy," she said, her silver markings glowing softly with contentment. "Both human and Volani characteristics are developing normally." "What will we call him?" Wu asked. "Or her. Something that honors both our worlds," Yella said. "Maybe Kirin if it's a boy. It means ray of light in an ancient Volani dialect. And Ha-Yun if it's a girl. It means grace in Korean," Jin smiled. "Either way, that child will grow up in a very different galaxy than we did." He was right. The galaxy had changed dramatically since the wedding. General Voss was in prison, serving a life sentence for his alliance with the Void Swarm. Most of the human supremacist movement had collapsed when people saw how well the different species could work together. The new integrated forces were proving incredibly effective. Mixed crews on ships performed better than single-species crews. Human creativity, Volani strategy, Hive precision, and Solari innovation combined to create something greater than the sum of its parts. "Commander Wu." "Princess Yella," came a voice over the communication system. "You have visitors in the conference room." They made their way to the conference room where they found an unexpected sight. A group of young beings from various species stood around the table, all wearing matching uniforms. Some were human, some Volani. Others were from species Wu had never seen before. "Who are you?" Yella asked kindly. A young human woman stepped forward. "Ma'am, my name is Lisa Chang. We're the first graduating class of the Integrated Space Academy. We wanted to meet you before we receive our assignments." The academy was one of Wu and Yella's proudest achievements. Young beings from across the galaxy came there to learn not just military tactics but how to work with other species. They studied each other's cultures, languages, and ways of thinking. "We want to join your fleet," said a young Volani male with silver markings that showed his excitement. "We want to help build the future you're creating." "What future do you see?" Wu asked. A young being from the Hive Collective, who looked like a smaller version of Ambassador Crix, clicked his response. "A future where no one has to be afraid because of what they look like or where they come from. A future where we explore the galaxy together instead of fighting over it." Yella smiled, her markings glowing brighter. "That is exactly the future we're working toward. Welcome to the Unity Fleet." After the young graduates left to begin their new assignments, Wu and Yella walked through the station. In the medical bay, human and Volani doctors worked side by side to treat patients from many species. In the engineering section, mixed teams maintained equipment using the best technology from all their worlds. But Wu's favorite place was the small cafe that had been built near the station's main plaza. It wasn't the quiet little cafe on Earth that he had once dreamed of. Instead, it was always busy with beings from across the galaxy, sharing stories and making friends over food and drinks. "Do you ever miss your old dream?" Yella asked as they sat at a table in the cafe, watching a group of children from different species playing together. "Which dream?" Wu asked. "The quiet cafe on Earth, the simple life you wanted." Wu thought about it. "Sometimes. But I think this is better. Instead of serving a few dozen customers, we're helping billions of beings live better lives. And instead of coffee, we're serving hope." An alarm chimed softly on Wu's communication device. "What is it?" Yella asked. "A message from the exploration fleet. They found something interesting in the outer rim." The exploration fleet was another new development. Instead of sending single-species missions to explore unknown regions, they now sent integrated crews. The ships were faster and more capable than anything built before. "What did they find?" Wu read the message and smiled. "A new species. They call themselves the Builders. They've been watching our progress and want to make contact." "Hostile?" "No. They say they're impressed with what we've accomplished. They want to join the Alliance." Yela laughed, the sound musical and warm. "Of course they do. Who wouldn't want to be part of something beautiful?" That evening, they stood again on the observation deck watching the stars. Their baby moved gently in Yella's womb, as if responding to the calm voices of its parents. "What do you think our child will become?" Wu asked. "Whatever they want to be," Yella said. "But I hope they'll continue what we started. There's still so much work to do." She was right. The galaxy was vast, and there were countless species still to meet. Some would be friendly, others might be dangerous. There would always be new challenges, new problems to solve. But for the first time in galactic history, those challenges would be met by united peoples working together. Human adaptability and courage would combine with Volani wisdom and honor. Hive precision would merge with Solari creativity, and new species would add their own unique gifts to the mix. "Do you know what I've learned in these past months?" Wu said. "Tell me." "That love isn't just something that happens between two people. It's something that can grow between entire civilizations. We didn't just fall in love with each other. We helped our peoples fall in love with the idea of working together." Yella took his hand, her silver markings pulsing gently in the starlight. "And this is only the beginning. Our child will grow up in a galaxy where cooperation is normal, where differences are celebrated instead of feared. A galaxy where no one has to choose between duty and love, because sometimes they're the same thing." In the distance, a new ship approached the station. It flew the flag of the Builders, the species that had just made contact. Soon there would be new friends to meet, new cultures to learn about, new ways to make the galaxy a better place. Wu thought back to that day 8 months ago when he had walked into Admiral Torres's office with his resignation letter. He had wanted to leave the military and live a quiet life. Instead, he had found something he never expected, a purpose greater than himself and a love that changed the galaxy. "No regrets?" Yella asked as if reading his thoughts. "None," Wu said, putting his arm around his wife and placing his hand gently on her stomach where their child grew. "This is exactly where I'm supposed to be." Above them, the stars shone down on a galaxy that was learning, slowly but surely, that differences were not something to fear, but something to celebrate. And in the small cafe below, beings from 100 worlds shared food and stories and dreams of an even better tomorrow. The future was bright, and it belonged to all of them together.